Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Amazing Race Rewind podcast, the podcast where we rewind back in time to watch the earliest seasons of The Amazing Race for the first time. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Jill.
And we are back and here to discuss Season 2, Episode 11, the finale, but part 1 of said finale, which is the shortest episode we have been covering up to date.
Yes, well, I guess initially when this was aired, it was intended to be a 2-hour finale on TV, but we have decided to split it into a mini episode today, so you'll just get a little bite of content, and then next week will be probably a little bit longer than normal with the episode.
So I guess they just decided to allocate more time to the final leg, because this one was only like 33 minutes or so. I was a little bit shocked when they said we were going to the pit stop when we had just started the leg, essentially.
Sorry, did you say shonked?
Yeah.
All right. I'll add that one to the list.
I've said it before. Okay, keep up.
Okay.
Anywho. So yeah, overall, there wasn't like a ton going on, I thought. It was more of just like setting up for the final leg. We went back to Hawaii, back in the USA.
Which I had guessed. I guessed that one.
You did, yeah. Well, I thought, yeah. But then they said they're going to a tundra or something. So they're going up north next, which it would have to be Alaska, right?
Tundra, yeah, it would have to be tundra.
Oh, unless it's Canada, yeah.
That's my...
like northern Canada.
That's my best guess, is either Alaska or one of the territories, or even some of the prairie provinces up north. But yeah, I don't know. So before the race even starts, we see, as per usual, them just resting at their pit stop from the leg before. But it just seems so relaxed, considering this is immediately...
They're having a beach day.
This is immediately before the final leg of this race, the deciding factor of $1 million. And they're having a full-on beach day, tanning, laying in the sun, playing volleyball, playing frisbee.
Lathering themselves with lotion.
Literally, suntan lotion. It's...
Yeah.
I don't even know if I was in that position, if I would be able to relax. I would just feel so guilty.
Well, what are you going to do instead? Run around, like, looking for any information you can get?
I guess, yeah. Train, strategize.
I suppose. Doing, like, push-ups and stuff. Yeah, so there's a very dramatic opening to this episode showing us, like, all the past teams from this season, kind of recapping the season, and setting up the final 3. And Phil, he's talking about, like, the final teams. And he has this, like, intensity in his voice that I don't know if he's, like, had this previously, but it's, like, very intense, talking about how, like, will Blake and Paige, the least traveled team, be able to, like, overcome their more well-traveled opponents and all this sort of stuff. I feel like he was very committed to this being, like, as intense as possible.
He was, and he also mentioned on Blake and Paige's note about how they're the youngest team in the race, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe that was the one before. But either way, they highlight that a lot. He's talking about, now that Will and Tara have solidified that their marriage will not ever work out again.
Which is so dramatic.
But if
it's like, now that they've come to this dramatic realization, how will they go on?
No, I know. But it's...
There's
a lot to talk about on that front. So I'll save that for a little bit. And then Chris and Alex are just kind of there.
Well, yeah, because they were talking about how Chris and Alex were... in last, or second to last, the past couple legs. So they were talking about, will they be able to rise to the ultimate challenge, or are they destined to finish in last place?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And can I just say that I got chills during this opening recap of the season?
Oh my god, me too. I was actually eating dinner at the table while watching this, and I was just overcome with this sense of complete anxiety.
Who's gonna win?
But I went into this mental state of, Jill, if you ever decide to go on this, how will you do this? How will you be able to... I'm an anxious person, you know that. I just think I would break down.
At the final leg, due to the pressure.
I like to think I can perform under pressure, but I don't know. Maybe this is my mental training, is watching this show and doing this podcast.
I don't know if that would suffice as mental training, is watching a television program. I don't know, like, I feel usually people don't go through a lot of emotional turmoil when watching The Amazing Race.
Okay, but you cried watching last season's finale.
Yeah, I guess that's quite rich coming from me. But yeah, this I had chills during this when he was talking about who will be the winner of the season. It got me. The music was swelling. It was very dramatic. It spoke to me. I think too. I know I've said this before. Like, I always imagine how we would be in that situation.
And I don't want to know almost what you and I would be like, because you get so intense. I get so anxious. I think we would just be either a mess or a very, very good team.
I think we would just have to lock in. That's it. We just have to eyes on the prize.
It's just another leg of the race.
Yeah. But anywho, the teams are starting where we left off in Auckland, New Zealand. And Tara and Will are the first to depart at 1:03 a.m. And they are instructed to find Sir John Logan Campbell, which is the only clue that they get. It's a very vague clue, but it turns out to be a monument that has his tomb in it. And he is known as the Father of Auckland. So Blake and Paige are departing about 2 hours afterward. At 3:30 a.m. and they're talking about how they're only really focused on Chris and Alex, like they're their only real competition, because they're talking about how Will is going to implode and how he's so unstable and such. To which I say, fair enough.
I just thought of something that's going to be really funny when we bring up later, but I need to wait.
Okay.
Yes, I have to add though. It's kind of neat because last season, obviously, when it got down to the finale, it was the lawyers and Frank and Margarita. Yeah, Margarita. And it was just kind of those two teams against each other. Like, the Guidos were so far behind that it was just a two-team race. So it is nice to have a little bit more competition this time around.
No, definitely. Especially, all the teams here are so close. Like, pretty much this entire leg, they were all within a few minutes of each other.
There was some switching up of positions. There was passing each other. It was good.
Yeah, there's no clear front runner here, which I think is very nice to watch.
Yes, but anyway, so they have to go to the monument, or what they find out is a monument to the Father of Auckland. I think most of their cab drivers know where it is, or know kind of what they're talking about, so there's no real difficulty in getting there. And the clue box that is stationed at the monument instructs them to go to Maui, Hawaii.
Yes, Hawaii, and they are going to follow a map to nearby sugar fields, I guess near the airport, I suppose, to then find ruins of an old sugar mill. Yes.
So this, obviously, we're getting into some travel here. I wouldn't say there's travel drama, because they all end up on the same flight out of... so it's just... I kind of see this as an equalizing point for them.
Yeah. Right, yeah, at this point, it really doesn't matter that Will and Tara had the fast forward and they were 2 hours ahead of Blake and Paige. Because, it is an equalizing point. But there are a couple points that I want to go over during this airport scene.
Oh, yes. I think you and I probably have the same quote written down.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. So first off, there's the scene of Will and Tara where Tara's speaking on the phone with, like, an airline employee. And Will is telling her to give him the phone because he feels like he could do a better job than her, which is just like the epitome of their relationship.
And here's the thing. What can you do a better job of over the phone? Booking tickets.
It's like, I don't think she was doing anything wrong. She was being friendly. She was being, like, polite. I don't know what he thought he could have done better.
That's my question. What can you do better over a phone that she can't? I'm just curious. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, I guess he has the customer service voice or something on 10.
Sure. Okay.
But I feel like it is like a pretty common thing when you're anxious to, like, feel like you could do something better. But I think most people would just, like, internalize that and not verbalize it and say that I think I can do this better, so let me do it. I feel like most people would just know that that's not really logical, even if they feel that way, you know?
I guess I get that. Yeah, you often just kind of want to have your hands on the task to make it feel like you're progressing it, but I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. Like I said, we'll just clear it now. All teams end up on the same flight, and it's New Zealand to Sydney, Australia, Sydney direct to, is it Honolulu then?
They were talking about Honolulu, but I think it was straight to Maui.
Honolulu, it's the city, but is it also the island? Or is Honolulu on Maui? That's what I want to double check.
Oh.
Because Maui's the...
Yeah, I'm not versed in my Hawaii geography. Oh no, Oahu's the island. Maui is also an island.
Yeah, so they're not going... So I guess they go Honolulu, then take another flight to Maui? Or do they have the direct flight to Maui?
It seemed like it was a direct flight to Maui. But ultimately, I don't think it really matters too much.
Yeah. Anyway, they're all on the same flight pattern. That's the flight pattern. Blake and Paige arrive at the airport shortly after.
Yeah, shortly after Tara and Will. And they are the first ones there when the Air New Zealand desk is opening up. And I was just putting myself in the shoes of these employees at Air New Zealand who are like just clocking in at 4 a.m. or whatever time it is, opening up the gates, and these frantic Americans are coming at you. That would like send me into a coma as an employee. I was like, I would not want to deal with that first thing, my shift.
Like, think back to us working in high school. Can you imagine if, like, doing the 4 a.m. shift, we walk in, and someone's just, like, running in there with full energy, be like, give me this, give me that, I need this, like, I would be,
yeah.
Sir, it's 4 a.m.
It's 4 a.m. Can we mellow it out a little bit? I can't deal with this right now. But the employees deal with it nonetheless.
Gracefully.
Yes. And Tara and Will and Blake and Paige note that a huge line forms behind them after they're finished booking their flights, and then this is when Chris and Alex arrive. So now they have to wait in this huge line of people, and they decide that they're going to ask the people in line if they can cut the line. So they're saying, yeah, is there any way we can cut the line? It's really, really important. And then this one lady just goes, no. And she devoured her. That was her right.
That killed me.
As a Kiwi, as a citizen of New Zealand.
That killed me.
She star of the episode.
I love that. Like, there was no prompting from other teams telling her, like, don't, like, hey, you see those guys? Don't let them cut. She just flat out,
Yeah, she hated them, in my mind.
But you know what? It's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m, whenever it is.
Yeah, she had places to be, too.
Exactly. Her journey was just as important as theirs.
Yeah.
So yes, while Chris and Alex are in line, Tara goes up to them and is talking to them, blah blah. And there's this shot which cinematographically I just need to appreciate. It's Will's being interviewed, and in the background you just see Tara, Alex, and Chris talking in the far background, and it just cinematographically, it's so good.
It was good, yeah. And he was talking about how Tara, her head's not in the game, how she doesn't realize, like, this is $4 million and she really, like, needs to get it together. And then we go to Tara talking to Alex, and Alex is like, oh, is he thinking you're, like, fraternizing with the enemies? And Tara says that Will told her to not speak to the little maggots, referring to Chris and Alex.
Yeah, do not speak to the little maggots.
Yeah. Wow.
What a quote.
So yeah, after this, Tara and Will, they have a little squabble about the situation, about Tara canoodling and not taking the final, like, seriously when it's $1 million. And you know what? I can see where Will is coming from. This would be, like, stress-inducing to me if my partner was not completely in it.
And also, as they are getting into the elevator, obviously to go up to their gate or whatever with their bags, Tara says, well, that's just you. That's how you play the game. And then Will goes, no, that's how you play the game. I was impressed. It's like, that's not how you play the game, that's how you play.
And he thought he really did something
game.
With that.
He really did. But yeah, not much happens after this. The teams all get onto the flight. And here again, we see a good example of Blake and Paige really being the most focused, tuned in team. They're poring over this travel guidebook on Hawaii. They're learning everything. They're just dialed in, while the other teams are literally canoodling.
They were canoodling. And there's this really strange, like, scene where Alex is talking to the camera, basically giving a confessional while on a plane with people in the back. It's like, I don't think we've ever seen this before, where he's just, like, full on giving a confessional while in his airplane, like, in the air.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. And also, again, Alex is sitting beside Tara. And to this question I ask, where is Will? Like, are Tara and Will intentionally booking seats apart now?
Seems to be the case, because he's just kind of on his own at the side, just, like, being all salty.
Yeah, no, it was a interesting flight, but I feel like, again, kudos to Blake and Paige for being as dialed in as they were, while the other teams are just playing around.
They deserve to be here, and they deserve to win it.
They do.
IMO.
I 100% agree. Yeah, so they get to Maui. And they take taxis to get to the sugar mill, correct?
Yeah, the sugar mill ruins.
Yes, so they get to the sugar... sorry.
Yeah, so I was just going to add in here that Blake has a quote, I think it was Blake, where he says, it smells like America here. Because they're all talking about how nice it feels to be on American soil.
I know. Okay, because you know when we would drive south, whatever, to go to the States, and for some reason, for me, even if it was a kilometer over the border and you'd get out of the car to whatever, stretch your legs, the air just smelled different. Even though I don't know. You didn't have that?
Is that just like a psychological thing, maybe? Where it's like you feel like you're in a different place, so you're like smelling things?
The air just smelled different once you cross the border. I don't know what it is.
But my thing is, I feel like Hawaii's so different from the rest of the states. Like, I would not consider that to be home if I was American, you know?
I just think there's a distinctly American smell. There's a distinct smell to each country, you know? But no matter, I've been to many places in America. No matter where it is, it's always there's that undertone of American.
I mean, I get the undertone of American, but I don't think you can attribute one smell to an entire nation.
No, it's not like I can smell something and be like, this smells like America. But it's just, this is American soil.
Okay. So that's...
With love. I'm not bashing America here. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, I can't say I've ever given that thought or had that experience, but I'm glad that you were able to experience that.
You know, I've been to the East Coast, I've been to the West Coast, I've been to the Midwest. I can say it all. There's all an undertone of America.
Okay. And I guess it carries on to the island of Hawaii as well.
Of course.
So they go to the sugar mill ruins. They all pretty much arrive there at the same time. And then they find their clue, and then the clue tells them to drive to a water tower at Pauela Pineapple Field.
I just loved the pineapple field as a location, but I don't know what it is. I think I got pineapples and coconuts mixed up in my head for a brief second, because for about a total of 2 seconds, I was just floored that pineapples grew in the ground. And then I realized it made total sense.
Yeah, see, we might be exposing ourselves, but I felt like pineapples grew on trees.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I was trying to cover it up a little bit because I didn't want to seem stupid. But, this isn't a joke, right?
This isn't a joke.
I need to Google this.
Yeah, I'm Googling that too, because I always thought they grew on trees.
Me too.
But I guess with their little stub, well, like
Do pineapples grow on trees? They don't. Type of flowering plant known as bromeliads, according to the University of Wisconsin-Madison's Horticultural Department, is the only bromeliad that can produce edible fruit. So it grows above the ground on top of a bush of spiky leaves.
Yeah, I see that right here. They're just kind of chilling on top.
Oh yeah, now that I think about it, I have seen pineapple plants.
I don't know if I've ever seen a pineapple plant.
But all this information is courtesy of USA Today article. Thank you, USA Today.
Okay. Well, I just searched up pineapples growing and went to the images tab on Google. So
okay.
So courtesy of every source on the internet. But yeah, they're going to the pineapple field, and there's a fun little clip that the editors did where Tara was talking about, like, we're in America, what side do I drive on? And then immediately after, Chris says the exact same thing about what side do I drive on, which is crazy. It's like, how are we both having the same thought? Because I guess New Zealand's different.
Yeah, New Zealand and Australia drive on the whatever.
Left.
Yeah, whatever the British do. And I think.
Yeah.
What are the other? I forget. There's a couple other countries that drive on the left. But I mean, I get it. Your brain, you've been all over the world, and you're just kind of trying to figure out where you are and what you're doing.
And then also one thing I want to address is how Tara pronounced pineapples. They were going through...
Pineapple.
Yeah. They were going through driving near the field, and she was talking about, look at all these pineapples. Pineapples. What?
There's an E.
Or does the E not exist to you?
That's because that's not an American thing. The rest of them are saying pineapples, right?
I think that's just a Tara thing. Pineapples. Unless... I don't know. Maybe that says a particular accent or somewhere where she's from. They refer to them as pineapples, but that's not how I know the fruit. Her experience is valid. We do not invalidate experiences on this podcast. So if you want to call it a pineapple, you do that.
Yeah, pineapple.
Are you just looking at the phonetics?
I'm looking at the phonetics. This is according to Youglish.com. Not English, Youglish.
Oh my god.
And it is pineapple.
Okay. So maybe we need to direct Tara to the Youglish website so she can learn that. But anyway, at this pineapple field, the teams encounter a detour, which is between bike and walk. And both of these options involve having to search for colored pineapples in a giant field. I don't know how big the field was. I don't know if they specified, but it seemed to be very large. Yeah,
so if you do the bike, you obviously take little mountain bikes, and you have to search for the one red pineapple in the field, and the clue will be, it's like a fake pineapple, and there's clues inside of it, so you take
Plastic,
the clue out. Yeah. But if you choose walk, there are a number of yellow fake pineapples around the field, and those hold clues inside them as well. I thought everyone was going to bike. For some reason, that was my first instinct, but I guess walking made more sense.
Yeah, I would lean towards walking as well, because I feel like biking is just so much easier to miss things, because you're just moving at such a quicker pace.
Yeah, I guess.
So I was very excited when I saw this task, because I thought it was going to be tedious. I thought it was going to be mentally taxing, physically taxing, spiritually taxing. I thought teams were going to be losing it.
Spiritually taxing.
Everyone Everybody seemed to take less than 10 minutes.
They were very quick about it.
It was very quick. I thought, yeah. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more tricky.
Yes. Will and Tara get it first, and Chris and Alex... Well, because Tara decides... Which is smart. I would say we do this. Like, Tara gets up on Will's shoulders and looks, and she says she spotted the yellow pineapple within 40 seconds. So they get it. They're off. Chris and Alex are close behind them. And it's raining, too. It seems like there's quite a bit of rain coming down for a couple minutes there.
Weather is not great. But my first thought with this task was that I thought there was only going to be one clue per pineapple. Like, I didn't think all teams could go to the same pineapple.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be better. So like one team, you couldn't like just follow one team that found it. But also I was thinking if there was there was more space between the teams, it would create a further divide because the teams who would be in the back would have like less chances to find a pineapple, you know?
Yeah, no, I thought that's how it was at first, like only one clue per pineapple. But I guess it makes sense if all of them are equally hidden as well. You know, if they're an equal distance away from the starting point.
I just think, maybe they could have made the pineapple not bright red or just like maybe made it blend in a little bit more to make it a little bit more challenging because this crushed my hopes and dreams because I thought this was going to be a great task and it was over. It's all over. It was.
Like we said, this episode went very quickly. Blake and Paige, I don't even want to say struggle with this. They're just the last to find another pineapple. And they think that they say they're only 5 or 6 minutes behind Tara and Will, maybe 3 minutes behind Chris and Alex. And they're instructed to go to, this is beautiful, by the way, but it's an extinct volcano, which is an island now. Kind of a bit of the crater of the volcano is just an island. The rest is submerged in water, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Yes. So they have to first drive 15 miles to a dock at McGregor Point, and then have to travel 5 miles by boat to the remains of the extinct volcano, which is known as Maulakini Island.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yes, and the teams get a clue at a buoy that the boat seems to take them to, and then this is where we get to our roadblock, which is sink or swim.
Yes. Now, let's explain it first. It's fairly straightforward. Whoever decides to do it has to put on some snorkeling gear and swim over to where there are 3 chests being held underwater. They seem like they're only maybe 5 meters, not even down, like 5.
No, 5 meters.
Sorry,
is a lot.
5 feet. I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not far down at all. Enough so that the person doing it still has to come up for air. Mm-hmm. But essentially, there's 3 chests, and each of them are tied up or bolted up in some way.
Yeah, something.
I think it's like locks or clips, so you have to break them open and get your clue. It's actually, I really liked it as a task. It was exciting to watch, and it's one of those tasks, like we've said before, where there's an opportunity to pass people, because you can't go one at a time. Mm-hmm. But I think, as usual, who's doing it? You or me?
Okay, so here was my thing. I said I'm a proficient swimmer, but also my thought was, okay, if Jill sees something that slightly resembles a fish, it's game over. Curtains closed, everybody go home, we're done. We need, like, you're getting medevaced, it's over.
That was ambulance, my thing. Let me explain this to you. You know, but, like, just to explain my thought process. I could do the bungee jump before this. That's how I'm putting it. Because I was watching this, and a fish swam in front of the camera. And I know, like, tropical fish are much prettier than our freshwater lake fish, you know, like pike and whatever. But still, you're absolutely right. I would do a roadblock that was the bungee jump thing if it meant not doing this.
That is unconscionable.
That's where I stand. So it's like I would jump off the bungee jump alone if it meant me not doing this.
And like, and having the risk of spotting a fish in the same waters as you. Okay. I hear you.
I will say, maybe if I was maybe if this was a team event to swimming, I could do it okay, because then it's for weird psychology, but if there's someone with me, I can push them in front of the fish.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said...
When this little fish, yeah.
You know what? Like I said, I would rather bungee jump off of the high wire than do this.
Okay, well that is... what's the word I'm looking for? Baffling. That's baffling. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I said I would do it, because I didn't think it was going to be it was that dramatic, but I guess here we are. The fish over heights. Or heights over fish.
I think that's just how I need to approach. If we ever have to do this and there's a bungee jump, that's how I have to approach it. Is at least it's not fish.
Just compare it to a fish. So The thing is, I appreciated this task for its difficulty. However, I was hoping there was going to be another component in addition to just opening the box.
Well, like that's the thing is Will and Tara get there first, and they're there on their own for a good couple minutes, so it seems to be quite hard because Will does it, and he seems to be struggling.
Yeah.
Chris and Alex come, same thing, like they're going, who does it? Is it Chris? I think Chris.
Alex does it.
Okay, I thought
Alex does it, yeah.
Right, and Chris is saying that Alex lived in the Caribbean, so he has, experience like snorkeling and doing this kind of stuff. But then Blake and Paige show up, quite far behind, and like matter of seconds, Blake has this thing open and they're off.
And this sends Tara to her breaking point.
I just have to tell you, Andrew, if I was doing a task and you screamed at me, Jill, everyone got it but you, like that would be the end.
I know that already. It's like, and you can tell Will's panicking. He's like anxious about it, just like floundering in this water.
It's kind of almost like what Blake was saying, how Will just explode was a foreshadow of this, because this is what I was laughing about earlier. In a volcano, Will explodes in the middle of a volcano.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. Okay. Yeah. Blake gets it done, and then Alex finishes shortly after him. So yeah, Will is the only one left, and Tara is screaming at him. And then Will goes, "I'm trying my best, Tara," and she says, "It's not good enough. Go again."
There's also a cutaway interview of Will saying, the pressure on my lungs felt like I couldn't breathe because of anxiety. Cut back to Tara saying, "Will, it's not good enough. You're quitting. You're not doing good enough."
Yeah, it's like they're just both horrible teammates. They have like zero teamwork skills. They do not know how to work together at all. It's horrible.
Yes, and it takes Will a good couple minutes, it looks like, to finish this task. Like, he doesn't, he takes his time, and yeah, basically flip-flops the entire podium here.
Yeah. So, yeah, Will does eventually get it, and the clue is to go to Key High boat ramp, and then they will have to drive themselves to Huialoha Church, which is like a little secluded church, seemingly on the coast near some water. And yeah, this was very shocking that this I was trying to find a different word, but I defaulted back to it. It was very shocking.
Sorry, shocking is the default?
Yeah, that the pit stop was so soon. We had just gotten into the episode. But I guess that just leaves more for us to sink our teeth into next episode. But
now, finding this church actually seems to be quite a difficult task for the task for the teams. At one point, Chris and Alex just drive. It looks like a farmer's entrance to a field that's just all mucked up. They drive up this
horrible.
Mucky ramp, and I thought they were gonna get stuck, and then
I thought they were over.
They just stand in this field. There's nothing there, and they're just like, "We've done something wrong." And it's like, yeah, you have.
Yeah, I thought they were going to break their car. Like, the vehicle they were driving was definitely not built for this kind of off-roading. And also, Chris and Alex, they, like, ask a local for directions. And this local is being so incredibly unclear about the direction. He's just kind of, like, swinging his arm around and, like, pointing in a circular motion, going, like, go this way, go that way. It's like, this is so unhelpful. He literally says,
you can go this... He, like, points to the right and goes, you can go this way, points left, or you can go that way. It's a little ways down.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Alex who says, well, what's a little ways? The guy just kind of, I don't know.
I think he said, like, kind of far or something like that.
Oh, yeah. It's, like, kind of far. And Alex is trying to understand what kind of far means. And I think finally the guy just says, like, 1.5 miles. And you can just, like, It's Alex again that says, well, everything's 1.5 miles in this country.
Which I don't know what that means.
I think it just means that in all of America, when you give directions, it's like, oh, it's...
About 1.5 miles.
About 1.5 miles down this way, then 1.5 miles that way,
Okay, yeah, it's the default.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blake and Paige are also confused with directions here. The only ones who don't seem to have much troubles are Tara and Will, which is quite unfortunate. Because they seem to be in the lead, but Blake and Paige just somehow stumble upon the arrow that's pointing them in the correct direction.
Yes, and here we get a little bit of a race to the pit stop. So Blake and Paige and Tara and Will are driving, or Blake and Paige are driving directly behind Tara and Will, and they reach the church, and it is a foot race. Blake and Paige hop a fence and get to the pit stop first. But honestly, I think we've talked about this before. Again, it doesn't matter that much because a team getting it 1 minute ahead of you really is not going to make any difference.
Well, other than one team gets a vacation to London and Paris.
But do they?
Well, in this case, they don't, but that's an extraneous case.
Yes, so what happens? Blake and Paige get in first, woohoo, they're awarded first place and a trip to London and Paris. They're celebrating, everything's happy. 30 seconds later, Tara and Will are on the mat, woohoo, they get second place.
Surrounded by the spirit of aloha.
Yes, and then at the very tail end of the episode, there is a little voiceover from Phil telling us that because of a production delay that delayed Tara and Will 1 minute.
Whole 60 seconds.
A whole 60 seconds.
Yeah.
They too are awarded a trip to Paris and London.
In addition to the 1 minute time credit they will get on the next leg, which will really help them out.
Which is, I'm sorry, what production delay puts you ahead exactly 1 minute?
Yeah, I don't know. I would be curious as to what this production delay was.
Yeah.
And this is also the first one of the season.
Yeah. You know what? I think maybe they pulled out their Robin Brennan chops and started lawyering up.
Yeah, a little bit of arguing going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, then obviously Chris and Alex, they are the third ones to arrive, but they're still in the race. And I guess this marks the final non-elimination, if you can even call it that.
I wouldn't call it that because this is a two-parter.
Yeah.
But that is the episode.
That's the episode. It was a short one.
Yep.
And there was a lot of time spent at the last half of just like the journey to the pit stop, which is curious because the pit stop really didn't mean anything at all.
Yeah, like it's just kind of a midway point. I guess it means they can rest, whatever, for a bit, but yes, like we said, next week we will do the last episode of season 2.
Finale part 2.
We will still do our deep dive though for season 2. That will be out there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing who wins.
I am also looking forward to seeing who wins. I am also looking forward to getting this season over with because I feel like I'm kind of sick of these characters by now. There's nothing, like, I need a little bit more wholesomeness. I need a little bit more fun. I am ready for some new faces on season 3 and hoping that that'll be a little bit more positive.
Yes, we are almost at the end. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. If you guys have questions, comments, DM us on Instagram at Amazing Race Rewind. If you have anything you want to send us for the season 2 recap, please do. AmazingRaceRewind@gmail.com. Yeah,
we love it.
We do. We live for this stuff.
Yeah.
Follow us on YouTube if that's where you want to listen to your podcasts. If not, like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave a review. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yes, we do. And with that, we will see you next week with the real finale, part 2. See ya.
Bye.